Like if somebody sends you a demo and they sound like this, they tell you like they sound like this, like we already have that. Like we need something new. Like we need new sounds. We need, like gotta like, I mean, it just felt like everybody was like being cut and stepped on and it was too businessy for me.
Welcome, everyone, to This Was the Scene, the podcast that takes a look back at the late 90s, early 2000 punk scene. I am your host, Mike Doyle. I'm not really sure how to do this intro because Laura Ladisheff doesn't have any information out there on the web because she doesn't have a website or a Wikipedia or I don't even think she has an Instagram. She might have an Instagram. But she has a Facebook page about her own personal life now with having 3 boys and a husband and living in New Jersey and things like that. So you won't find any information out there about what she provided to the New Jersey scene. That was until this interview, which will probably be the only thing on the internet that is documenting what she did to grow the New Jersey scene. I met Laura in, I think, 96 or 97 when I was in a band called Congress of Cow, and I worked at Sears with her brother Kevin, and one day he said, hey man, I should introduce you to my sister because she books shows and she's involved in the scene and you guys are playing shows, you should meet. So I met her then and we became friends and she helped both my bands, Congress Cow and Lanemeyer, get on shows. She booked a ton of shows in Boonton. She managed Humble Beginnings and then she one day just kind of bowed out. And I thought having her on the podcast would be great because she had such an interesting viewpoint as someone who was involved in the scene, but I don't think she was like so hardcore about the bands and their music. She was more just about, hey, this is something fun to do and I'm good at it and I can help bands get on shows. And it just came from a genuine and authentic place, which I totally love. And her name has come up a lot in interviews because, again, of her booking shows and things like that. So luckily we reconnected because she had brought me on to do an animation for her organization that she works for called CASA. So we were working on a project recently and I said, there's this podcast I'm doing and I think you'd be a great part of it. And she was a little nervous. And even after we did the interview, she was like, this is probably bad. You should delete it. And I was like, no, it's perfect. It's great. And you'll see why after you start listening to it. And this is what we talked about. Brian Granik, the Weston show at Boonton Knights of Columbus, Matt from Uprise, managing Humble Beginnings, Robotrips at Delvecchio's house in Hackettstown, how she helped Congress of Cow get Bruce the Van, Jeremy joining Humble Beginnings, Jeff Kish from Dawson High /Digger/Weston, Beth and Elizabeth from Hot Topic, Benson, Jay Blanda's mom following my webcomic, how the only way I'll actually play another show will be if it's at the Boonton Legion Hall, and a ton more. As I mentioned in the beginning, Laura works for an organization called CASA. What this is an organization that helps foster kids get through the system and have someone be an advocate for them their entire time, because when a kid gets in, they'll be going home to home and school to school and they're all over the place, and the state ends up not losing track of them, but they don't stay in touch with them on a daily or weekly basis to give them something to connect to. And that's why this organization is amazing. So go check them out. It's at casaforchildren.org, and the way that you can find a program in the area if you do want to volunteer is go on there, on the top of the site, roll over our work, and then click on state and local programs and just scroll down. There's a map of the United States. Click on the state and then a list will come up with the cities in that state, and if you are close to there, then you should go check it out if you do want to volunteer or you want to contact them and learn how you can help or what you could possibly provide to the organization to help them. Again, go check that out at casaforchildren.org. Thank you to everyone who has donated to the podcast. If you'd like to do so as well, you can go to thiswasthescene.com and you can become a Patreon for $1 a month, or you do a one-time donation, or you could buy some band merch from back in the day. And what I did is I reached out to a couple bands and said, what would you think about if I were to sell some of your merch and split the profits with you? And they said, yes. So you're going to start seeing more bands from back in the day added to the store. Right now I've got Boxcar on there. I'm working on getting Joystick. I'm also going to talk to a bunch of other bands that I'm going to just kind of keep under wraps, but you should look out for that. So and I'm going to remake old designs. I'm not going to do new designs. I'm going to remake old designs and then have them on the store so you can have some nostalgic punk rock gear this holiday season and into the roaring 20s that we're entering. Lastly, as I've been saying the last couple episodes, which I'm probably going to keep promoting, is go check out my new book, Draw Some Richards, on my website, yourdailybread.com. It's a sketchbook for people who want to draw something special all the time. And this is a great holiday gift for the family members or yourself this holiday season. Again, so go to yourdailybread.com. You can buy the book there. And that is it. Feel free to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with anyone who would love some punk rock nostalgia. With that said, let's get started.
Like, I'm worried that I don't have enough to say and like I don't remember enough things, because a lot of it is fuzzy. Like, I have some very vivid memories about what happened, and then also like I have like no recollection of certain things. So I texted Granik, who I haven't talked to in like 5 years. And I was like, "It's Laura. I need you to call me." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on." I'm like, "Did you even know Doyle had a podcast?" And he's like, "Yeah, I knew about it." And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna be on it. Like, I need you to help me piece things together, and like, can you help me remember this and that?" And he's like, "No, Laura. Like, he's like, this is what you want to do with Mike. Like, you should just like talk with Mike about remembering those things." And he's like, "That's what people want to hear." And I was like, "Oh God, Nick, like, here you are after 20 years, like imparting all your sage advice on me."
I've actually I asked Sean Smith, Sean Lanemeyer, if because he's
Yeah.
friends with Brian, and I said, "Hey, tell Brian I want to get him on," and he's like, "No, he won't do it." Like, there's about there's three people I've reached out to, like John from Nada, Jay Pinball, Granik. Granik I didn't get in touch with
Jay
direct.
Jay Turon?
Yeah, he won't do it.
Oh wow.
I think by the time this gets a little bit more episode, I mean, a real fun fact, you're gonna be episode 80.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like
Wow, that's a lot of episodes.
yeah, this is a big milestone, and I think at this point it's about to surpass 50,000 downloads in almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's big, Doyle. I mean, congratulations.
hey,
You
that's I did a thing. I feel like this is the band that I always wanted to be in, but it's talking.
know?
People actually
Nice.
give a shit about this one.
Yeah. I went back and listened. Like, I mean, I kind of knew you were doing this, and then I did listen to Jay Blanda's interview.
That's a good
'Cause I'm
one.
still friends with him. Yeah, but then I went back since you asked me to do this. Like, I listened to as many as I could, which is like three of them or four of them, and like I tried to listen to like people that I knew. Um, but like there are definitely other ones that I want to check out. Like did you know you interviewed Cheese? Like I went to the junior prom with Cheese.
Wait. So you went to junior prom with John
With Cheese.
Cheese? Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I asked
I
him
mean, we
about
were.
that. I asked him like how he got the name too. He's like, "Oh, I was just playing." He caught a football at some weird way, and someone was like, "Oh, you're that cheese guy, cheeser." Is like then it just stuck forever. I'm going like, all right.
I did not know that story. We were not like we just had like a lot of mutual friends. Like it was like so random that we went to the prom together, and then we just, I mean, it was very random.
That's right,
So
because he grew up. He grew up in
he went
Rockaway?
to, yeah, so he
Yeah,
went to
Morris
the same high
Plains.
school as me,
Yeah, because you and Kevin were in Morris Plains.
Morris Knowles.
Morris Knolls. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because we used to
Denville and
go.
Rockaway go together to high
Hmm.
school together.
Yeah, we used to. So everyone listening, Kevin is her brother, who we called Laddie, I think is what his nickname was back then. So me and Kevin, John Thumser, John Price, Vic Tabaranza, who the fuck else? I'm missing one other person. We all worked at Sears Boys, and we created a gang called 4T. I forget why we came up with that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, trust me, it doesn't matter that you're not gonna remember a lot. I remember a lot of random shit from back then. So
Yeah, I do remember this because I remember him coming home and he like showed me this Congress of Cows sticker, like it was like hand drawn. And he's like, "Oh, my friend at Sears is in a band, and I told him he should talk to you since you're all into this stuff." And I think I came into Sears at the Rockaway Mall, and I met you, and that's how we
yes,
met. And then
that
that's
is
how
how
I
we met.
introduced you to all the Humble Beginnings guys.
Wh-
And
Wait,
then
wait a minute. Okay, we are gonna get back to this, but I'm gonna just kind of because I want to go back and talk about how you got in punk rock and then how you got into booking bands and shit. But I remember that vividly. You came in because you were always like smiling, and you walked in, you're like, "Hi, are you Mike Doyle?" And I was like, "Hi." I was like, "Hi, I'm Kevin's sister." You guys are twins, right?
yeah, we're
Yeah.
twins. Yeah.
Is that Irish twins? Is that what that is? Or Irish twins
No,
where it's like years
fraternal,
apart. Fraternal.
fraternal twin.
What's Irish?
Yeah.
It's like we're
Irish is when you have like a baby and then within like the next year you have another
okay.
baby.
That's right. You guys are fraternal
Yeah.
twins. And
Yeah.
oh my God, I remember this. You came in and said that I thought that I met the Humble guys at the show we played at Boonton, the Oblivion show, but you had set that up, right? At
I did.
Boonton
Yeah,
Knights of
I set that
Columbus.
up. So
Yeah.
so you met
Wow.
them. I mean, I'm sure you met them before that. Do you remember when that was, that Oblivion show?
The actual, I mean, so did you know about the NJPP archive, right?
I know that it exists, but I have not like looked at it or know how to access it or anything
Well,
like that.
he has, yeah, so you sent me that flyer through
Yeah,
text.
can you
Yeah.
you're gonna send that on to him?
No, he has all these flyers. Like
Oh, he does?
he has all flyers from back then. He has it categorized from 90, was this 94 to 2006. Well, in 2006 doesn't matter. No one gives a shit after 2002, or I don't. But he has like the years that we were involved in, like 96, 97, 98, 99. He's got all of these flyers and they're up. You click, it goes to his Facebook page, but he has that flyer with,
Oh, he does.
uh-huh.
Wow, I want to check it out. So when was it? Must have been
Um,
96, right?
Let
Or
me
97?
see. So I'm in the 96. I think it's 97 because that's where we first. That was like before that show. The first real punk show we played was in Butler with the Siren Six, Against All Authority, Uprise, not Uprise, shit, Plan A Project,
Mm-hmm.
True Zero. That was like our first real show, like into like the actual scene, and then this show I think was like our a couple shows where we actually we were on that show, right? Yeah, we did play that show. Yeah,
The
Connerstown.
Oblivion, the Oblivion Humble Beginning show.
Uh, yes. Let me go. Where is that?
I
You
don't know because
six it.
I haven't seen the flyer, but you're definitely on the
Yeah,
Weston show, which is the big one there. The
yeah.
last one. That was the last one at the Knights of Columbus.
Was it really?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, the cops came.
The cops came and like it was I mean, we had like something like 700 kids show up to that show. And
Yep.
and they shut it down at the end. And like cuz I had been doing shows there. My first show was 94. So I had been doing shows there for a long time. So like they just gave me the key to the place, you know. And
Ah.
so they're like, "Yeah, go ahead, Laura," and then 700 kids show up and that was the biggest one that we ever did. And yeah, so like the guy walked in at the end. I think Weston was on like screaming and the cops came. Like I had to call my mom. Like she like came. She had to like come down to Boonton and argument with the police, and it was pretty bad. So they yeah, it was bad. But they they called me the next day and they're like, you're not allowed to do shows here anymore. And I had already booked the Bouncing Souls, and
Yes,
yeah, and I like
that's right.
bugged those guys for like a year and a half to come play in Boonton, and they finally said yes. And like I quickly like made up flyers so we could hand them out that night, at the Weston show. And then when they were like, sorry, like you're never coming back here ever again. And and then I had to like call the Bouncing Souls and tell them like, sorry, we can't do this show. And they're like, wait a minute, what? Like you've been hounding us. And then so yeah, so I never got to do a show with them. But then like I guess it was a few months later or not long after, I realized that the night, which is on Church Street, like 2 blocks over, there's the Elks Lodge on Cornelia Street. And so I went into the Elks Lodge and I was like, hey, like, we'd really like to, do XYZ. We're going to have a few bands play. And the guy who like rented it out was like my friend from elementary school. It was her dad. So like I already knew him and he was like, yeah, okay. And then, I mean, he's like, as long as it's you, like I think I'm sure he let other people do shows, but like it was like kind of like I had like this exclusive like booking there,
Oh,
because
wait a minute. Wait. That's why I've been saying this wrong for so long because it was the Knights of Columbus and then it was
yes,
the Elks Lodge.
yes.
Holy shit.
So
Okay, go
everything
ahead. That's
before, yeah. So
crazy.
like 1997, that was in June of 97 was the big Weston show. And then, so everything before that, the first show was 95 and then, or 94. And then after that is the Elks. And
Holy
I think
shit.
they still do shows there at the Elks every once in a while.
That this is like such a giant piece that's been missing in all of these episodes talking about that because a couple episodes ago I said, am I saying this right? I'm like, I know I keep saying Boot and Elks Lodge. I'm like, but it was the Knights of Columbus. So there's been this back and forth, but that's right because it I
Yeah.
forgot that the Weston show shut that down. And then we went down the street because I remember when Hummel got back from tour when they kicked Gabe out, like after that tour, they played that show at the Elks Lodge because there was like a stage behind them and the curtain down. I don't know why I'm vividly remembering this, but it was a different layout. Oh, holy wow.
Yeah, it's a different layout.
Yeah, and the parking lot was different. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so leading up to this, that's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
so I want to go back and find out like every episode. It's always an origin of how you got involved in it and what piqued your interest in music and what led had that lead to punk rock and then had that lead to you going, oh, I'm gonna start booking shows. So go back to when you were younger and be like and tell me like what was the song that wasn't punk rock related or could have been like that you were like, oh my God, I really love music.
Oh, I don't. This is a tough question. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think I have a great answer. I mean, I do love music, but I love all kinds of music. It doesn't matter to me like what genre it is. It's like as long as it like, as long as I feel it or it gets me moving. So no, I don't think that there was like a specific band or song or anything that I'm like, oh, this is the moment where like,
Mm.
oh, like this, defining moment. So I don't know. Sorry, that's a bad answer. You
No, it's fine.
can, you
That's
can,
your answer. You were just like
um,
music in general. I loved it all.
music in general. Yeah. I mean, even like during that whole thing, I mean, I think I kind of like, I guess I just like came in the other way into the punk rock scene. Like, I mean, I remember like being in the band with like Humble Beginnings, and they would like make fun of me. Like they'd be playing music, and they're like, Laura, what band is this? And I'm like, I have no idea, And then they're like, oh, it's the Bouncing Souls, Laura. And I'm like, okay. And then like 10 minutes later, they're like, okay, now which band is this? And then I'm like, I don't know, guys. And they're like, it's the Bouncing Souls, Laura. And I'm like, God, leave me alone, like I
I can
just,
imagine just Josh and Gabe how funny they were as a duo, like doing that to
ugh,
you
yes,
consistently.
yes, yes.
At some point, music was just you're like, oh, music. And then at what point did you start booking bands and like get into the scene? Because I know Heft was that your first band you booked?
We were definitely friends with them. So the way it worked was, do you remember my best friend Cindy?
It sounds very familiar. I know it was the
So
two. Yeah, yes, I do.
so I think it all kind of started like she and I, and we were both kind of friends with, she was good friends with Matt Molnar. Do you know him? Remember him? He was in Uprise. Um, I think before Uprise it was called, God, Downfall. Maybe he was in Downfall,
Was he
and
the
then
singer? I knew I
I don't know.
knew Mike Ziobro, Drug Free Mike Z.
Oh yeah, Mike Z. Yeah, I remember him.
I don't know if I actually met Matt.
So Matt is definitely like uh, the beginning of all of this, and he ended up like kind of turning more into like the hardcore. I think in the beginning it was hardcore and pop punk were kind of together because I think everybody was just like, okay, like we're a group of kids that like music, that like different kind of music. So there were a lot of shows where hardcore and punk and pop punk were like all kind of together, and then I think it split a little bit later. But we were friends with Matt, and do you remember Obsessions?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, so like Cindy and I would go to Obsessions all the time, and we like we became friends with there was this band called Malfactor. I think they might have even been like a metal band. But then I think later they became the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like Chris Penny and Craig and John Fulton.
Didn't they
Are
go
those
to
all
your
those guys?
school? Didn't they go to your
No,
school?
they were from Randolph.
They were from Randall?
Um, yeah, is that right?
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
right. I know they recorded it at Pequannock with Chris Benami one time with Mike Patton. But I knew they
Yeah.
were from Jersey. I didn't know they were that close to where I grew up.
I could be wrong because I also in preparation for this, I talked to Matt and he told me.
Okay.
He's like, I was like, oh, remember the Mouth Factor guys? And he's like, yeah, they turned into. But
Just
he's
Blanda.
yeah. So
Oh, that little band.
right. So anyway, so like we were going to Obsessions like all the time, just hanging out, and we became friends with them, and like we didn't even drive yet, so like we were like getting them to drive us around to other stuff, and there was like the Rusty Nail in Parsippany, I think it was,
Okay.
and we went to like some shows there, and then like it just we were Obsessions charged like a ridiculous amount of money, and we were like we could do this ourselves, and so Cindy and I were. So I guess we were like sophomores in high school, and it actually started because we were still in Girl Scouts together, which we had like the way that it works is like everybody joins Girl Scouts when you're in like kindergarten, and like all the girls in the whole town join, and then it came down to like by the time high school hit, like there was only like 4 of us left, and we had all this like money saved up in like from whatever selling cookies and all that stuff all those years, and we had like none of our own money, but we had to do this like project to like continue. And so I think we like, that's how it started. We were like, well, we'll do like this show as our project, and we're going to like get cans of food and like raise money for whatever our project was. And that's like what our first show was. And
Oh, wow.
we had Matt hooked us up with all the bands, and there was like Hodgepodge, which like was I think also maybe Patchwork, became Patchwork. And then there was a band, they were from our high school, or at least a couple members. And then Downfall, which became and then Gum Matter, which I think then became Uprise.
Wait, which year was this? Or what year was this?
94. So 25 years ago.
Holy shit.
Also, Genius Boy was like, we were friends with them. So they were from, do you know Scott Shields?
Scott Shields. Shit. Someone mentioned his name in an interview.
So he was in Genius Boy, and then I think, God, it's like hard for me to remember. Like, did he then? I know they were still on. Like, we were still friends with them. Like, was My Favorite Citizen Scott Shields too?
My Favorite Citizen was Sergio.
Yeah, I remember
and
Sergio.
the bassist from True Zero. I forget that guy's
Okay.
name.
Well, I don't know, but we were friends with Scott, and that's like how he got on all our stuff and all the Girl Scout shows, because we did several after that one in 94. And then I forget who else. Oh, Daly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our first show, and it like went really well. And I think it went well because probably like we brought a bunch of kids from our high school, and then there were like a bunch of Montville kids because that's where Scott went. And then I don't know. So like it went pretty well, like well, meaning like probably 200 kids.
Jesus.
And we raised our money and for whatever thing we were raising it for, I don't remember, and lots of food to bring to the pantry. And so then we're like, this is fun. And like, we met new people, and then we did it again. And then we kept doing it. And then at some point, like Cindy was like, she also kind of like went more into like the hardcore scene than the punk scene.
Was that like through Matt's influence, or
Her what?
was that through Matt's
Oh,
influence?
Matt. I think it was just like her own.
Liking.
Yeah, maybe, but she definitely was like going to like rougher shows, and I wasn't that interested in that kind of music. I felt like a lot of it was just kind of noise to me, you know?
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna ask, because like, were you actually interested in these? Did you like it more? Like, what was your favorite part about it? Like putting on the show and organizing it, or actually hearing the bands? In the beginning.
Right. No, I think honestly it was just like this was something fun to do, and we were just like making new friends, and that was fun. I mean, I definitely preferred music that was like more melodic than like, like Uprise was. But yeah, it was just like kind of making new friends, and I guess like networking, but that was not a word that we used, but it was just, we were making new friends all over the place, and it was fun to like go check them out and see what their bands were, but like the ones that I remember or that I liked were more melodic than that. So, but she went in that different direction, but we're still good friends now. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at some of the flyers that Joe Polito has up, and he's got like 95. Where some of the bands that you're talking about, he's got them on here, like Patchwork. There was a
Yeah.
show because there was a lot of shows back then in the Pipeline.
Oh,
In
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Newark.
the only show I ever went to see there was Bigwig. After I got to know them, because like Humble played with them. That and then it like closed down after they stopped doing shows there. So did you
Yeah.
go? Did you put on any shows there?
No, I didn't put on any shows there, but I think I went to see like the Blank 77 or whatever there.
Yeah.
And I think I was at that Big Wig show. Did Joystick open?
I think they might have because I went with the Humble guys in their van, and I believe you were there because you were managing them. Dan was there, the old drummer, and he did like a somersault off the stage like multiple times. Do you remember this?
No.
I just remember that vividly. I was like, "Who's this asshole that just keeps jumping up?" Like, "Oh, that's the old drummer." I'm going, "All right, I guess."
No. But I remember Joystick had that. Was it Joystick that they had that singer Brett?
Yeah.
Was it Brett?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. And they had that like line from like the Soft Cell song or whatever. What am I thinking? The Tainted Love song or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know why this is one memory that I have where like I mean I remember it was like such a packed room because it was kind of small there at the Pipeline.
Oh yeah.
Um and everybody like I don't know went crazy when at that point and it's just a random
Just
sorry
a,
blurb of my memory.
okay, I had a random blurb of Dan doing a somersault or
Yeah.
doing a flip off stage.
Yeah.
One thing, so the one show that you were talking about, there was a flyer for Wharton American Legion, Friday,
Okay.
March 24th, and it's got Daily, Plow, Weston, True Zero, and Patchwork. Oh, called J for info. Okay, this wasn't you.
Oh yeah. No, I know him though. Jay Palmer.
Okay.
He was in Plow, I think.
Was he? No, it was Brian, Sean, and Joel.
Okay. Okay. Wait, who else was on it?
Daily, Plow, Weston, True Zero, and Patchwork.
Maybe it was Daly that Jay was in.
Okay, I don't remember
I don't
Daily.
know. I mean, there was a lot of like, even in my high school, so we were like friends with all those hardcore guys. Like, there was this guy, Dave Ackerman, who I think was in the band with Matt Molnar, and then like, so a lot of them, and then my brother had like all these skateboard friends who
Hmm.
he was friends with, Aaron Kraft, who like
Yeah,
I think you were couldn't place
I couldn't
when
place
you
his
talked to
name.
Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, it took me like 10 episodes later. I was like, I just randomly yelled out Aaron Kraft. Like, what? I was like, sorry, that I just had to finally remember his fucking name.
Yeah. And
Wait, wasn't that like wasn't that whole skate crew though? That weren't they part of like the Morris County youth crew? Or was that
that
them?
sounds that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Or like the 078 crew or something like that.
Something like
I
that.
don't
I
know.
remember like Laddie he'd always be hanging out with all the skate guys, but he like never drank or like did anything
Yeah,
ever
in the beginning.
in the
I
beginning.
know, I
Yeah.
remember
He's like
he
straight
was
edge, the X's.
yeah, straight edge, that's right. And
Yep.
I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember straight edge." Until then, one day like I remember being out at a bar with him and he was like had never had a drink. So I don't we must have been over 21. And I was like, "Come on, you're gonna be fine." And he drank like a whole beer and then a whole water and then a whole beer and then a whole water. But I'm happy to report he's come a long way. And now he's like a bartender.
Is he
So,
really?
yeah,
That's so
yeah. At like
random.
some like upscale, kind of like I don't know, craft cocktail place in Phoenix. And I
Wow.
like went out to visit him and all his friends, and it was super fun.
I love that I said that's so random and I'm basing this off of someone I knew 20 years ago. I'm like, that doesn't sound like him. It's like, oh, I missed about 2 decades of someone growing into
Yeah,
their
right,
into their
right.
bartender
Yeah.
stage in life. So you're putting on shows, and how did that lead to you going like, okay, I want to like manage a band?
So Cindy and I were doing a bunch of shows together, and then she wanted to do more different stuff, and then I kept doing. I guess it turned into more pop punk, and I think honestly, it was just because like my name was on all these flyers that people would call me randomly and be like, "Hey, I'm in this band," or like, and then my friend has a band and come out and check us out, and then I would, and I was always looking for places to flyer my shows. And so like I just ended up meeting like a ton of people but then I guess like I didn't want to like manage many bands. Like it was just specifically like had kind of hit it off with Gabe and Josh and Chris. We had a similar direction, I guess. I mean, Gabe was like super driven about.
Yeah. Well, he was very business savvy at a young age.
He was, but also I think he was business savvy, and I think he was really good at like the networking and had like a goal that he wanted to reach, but also like very genuine. I never felt like he was. I mean, I think he was like pretty earnest about punk rock and what he wanted to do. And I mean, I know he like. I mean, I remember like having conversations with him about like, being creative was like really important to him. And I think like that probably leaned more in Josh's direction,
Yeah.
in terms of like songwriting and stuff. So,
Well, yeah, like what were those conversations like behind the scenes? Because Gabe has come up a lot, and I've like talked, Ricky was on, I had Heath on from Midtown, but like Gabe always comes up, and I've said many times in interviews where I was like, yeah, I was pretty much called myself out from back then. I was like, I was so jealous, like I was so jealous of Midtown. I mean, like I told like Heath this and everything, because I was like, man, this guy's just like making shit happen, and it was really just me just being like like totally jealous. I'm like, why the fuck is their van blowing up and it was Midtown? But like behind the scenes when all that was going on, like at the beginning when you and him would like hang out, like would he have conversations where he's like, I really see this happening, I want this is what my life to look like in X years? Or was it just like, I just really like writing songs, and I think I kind of enjoy this now, and I don't know if this goes somewhere
no,
great.
it was definitely, it was always like a goal for sure to make it happen.
Wow.
And then, and for me too. And for Josh and Chris. I mean, I don't, like I said, things are kind of blurry, but I mean, so basically what happened was I think after that March show that, that's when I met Gabe. Was he
Which
called
March
me
show?
up, the one that I sent you the flyer for.
Oh,
So it
okay.
was like March of 96, and he came to the show, and then he called me up after, and we just like hit it off. And I guess we went to a couple shows together, and and then he asked me to do a show for Humble Beginnings and Oblivion. And we did, and it went really well. But like we became friends through that whole process. And then after that is when we like, I guess like aligned, if I don't, that's the right word or whatever. But
But weren't
so
you
that's
also
when,
managing Heft at the same time?
no,
Okay.
no, no. We were just friends with them.
Okay. But go on with I cut you off there. Go on with what you were saying. Because you said like we aligned, and then like it came with you to the show. You were flying. You're like, yeah, we
Yeah.
had that conversation. It's like, all right, let's kind of join forces here.
Yeah. So we joined forces, and that's kind of when it turned into like less wanting to promote shows and more wanting to like work directly with a band, or specifically Humble Beginnings.
Yeah.
And so like that first summer, like we did, I mean, they just played a ton of shows, and then I ended up basically doing shows. I mean, I think they were on every single bill
Mm-hmm.
of every show I did ever since that. And because like the whole idea was like, I'm going to put on shows. They were pretty solid because I think like I didn't saturate like with how many I was doing. I like, we spaced them out, I think a good amount. And like, they were always like really well attended. So it was like, kind of like you had something to trade. Like, hey, like, can you get Humble Beginnings to show? I'm going to do this show, and it's going to be awesome whenever. And like, we'd love to get your band on it. And so we just kind of traded back and forth. And I think that was like happening from like, I don't know, whenever that, after that Oblivion show, I mean, until like after we graduated high school. And like, I remember it, like we were pretty serious about it. Like, I remember sitting down like with all three of them and being like, okay, like we had a conversation, like we're sitting at a diner and like, okay, we're not going to go to college. Like, we're going to stay home and like try and make this happen.
It wasn't Delvecchio going to CCM though out there this whole time?
Yeah. So I think he might've been a year older. So he was going, yeah. So I think he was going to CCM. Josh might have been a year older too than me.
Josh
I don't
is
know what he
same.
was doing.
Josh is my age, so we're both 40.
So 97.
Yeah, 97.
Was Gabe younger? Was Gabe
I thought
97 or?
I thought he was the same age as
Okay, I
Josh.
thought so too. I thought so too. Okay,
Yeah.
because like I said, well, then Chris was already around because he was local, because he was going to CCM. But the rest of us had a conversation like, we're not gonna go to college. Like, so we then went home and told our parents, like, each of us, like, we're gonna try and like keep this up and make this, and make this go. And I remember like my parents gave me like this 1 year kind of deadline. All right, fine, you're not going to college. I mean, I think probably my mom, like, I know my mom came to a couple shows, like, because I had to call her because the cop showed up, that one time.
Should have bail you out.
Yeah, right. So, but like my mom came to a few, and I think they were like, whoa,
Yeah, they got
what?
it. Like when they showed up there, they're going, all right, we kind of think you might have something here.
Yeah, how did she get 700 kids here? And like, they were like, okay with this. And also, I mean, I don't know. Like, looking back, I can't believe they were like, fine, don't go to college. They made me promise that it would be like a 1 year thing, which is like, okay, fine. Like, we'll try really hard for 1 year, but 1 year is not enough to like make a band.
No.
No.
You like
So
5.
yeah, but yeah. So we tried really hard, and they toured, and I mean, we just
Okay,
made
so
tons of friends.
so many things popped up in this, as you're saying. Like, I mean, it just the floodgates like open of all these memories about this time. Because I mean, I'm thinking about I had mentioned this. There's so many things, but I'm just gonna kind of just single out some of them. I remember the show when I mentioned this in the boxcar interview. We went down to some Legion Hall that was like, I forget where it was, like Central Jersey, and it was us, Humble, Boxcar, maybe another band. And we got there, we were upstairs, and there's like no show. And I think we didn't really know the Boxcar guys too well then, but
Mm.
Delvecchio was like, we're going back to my house, my parents are gone, we're gonna play the show there. And we drove all the way up to Hackettstown. It was like an hour away because Hackettstown's so far. And we
And
ended up,
Boxcar came with us.
and Boxcar drove with us all of our vans or cars, whatever we all had. We all just like had this big what is it? We're a bunch of like caravan just driving
Yeah.
up to the Vecchio's. We all pull up. That was the first time I'd ever been to his house. I'm going,
Oh
how
my
we all been
God.
there? And his parents had this mansion in
Wait.
Hackettstown,
Yeah, in Panther Valley.
Panther Valley. And that was
No.
another thing too, because they had the guard at the gate.
Yeah.
And so Chris had to go first. Like, I got to tell everyone I got to tell the person that we're letting in. So as soon as we pulled to that, I'm like,
I was on the permanent list at Panther Valley.
well, actually, it's really funny because my mom ended up moving to Panther Valley like years later. So I kept go every time I would drive in there. I'm like, this is crazy. This reminds me of going to Delvecchio's. Yeah. So remember we went there and we played the
Where
show
were
in the
his
basement.
parents all the time? I
They were.
felt like we were
I
there
have
all
no.
the time.
Dude, we had so many parties there where there'd be like 50 fucking people just scattered throughout his house, getting hammered or stoned or
Yeah.
whatever, and doing Robotrips and all that shit that they did. And they were always going. And I think we asked them, like, where the fuck do
They
your
loved
parents live?
Robotrips. I
Oh my God.
can't. I mean, that's so funny.
That was like the biggest
That was
thing
back
too.
in.
They're like, oh, we're gonna Robotrip. I'm like, what's that? Like, we're gonna just pound Robitussin and just trip our balls. I was like, that sounds scary. I don't want to ever do that.
That's like, yeah, him and Jay were
Him
totally.
and Jay, yeah.
I've still never Robotripped to this day.
Yeah, I
Oh
was
my
like, I'm
God.
not doing that. I'm gonna drink
Bad idea.
beer. I'm gonna drink my Sam Adams cherry wheat beer.
Oh my God.
But like that was like the intro to his basement. There's this huge basement. So we play the show, but then we'd always have parties there. So like it reminded me of that. It reminded me of how you helped us get our van. Do you remember this?
Oh my God.
So
Yes, I'm like, oh, I don't remember a lot, but I vividly remember that.
So in the Right
Like,
Turn Eddie interview, if anyone wants to listen to that, there's the story about Bruce. It's this blue shit beat up van, and when
oh,
we
you
were,
named it?
oh
You
yeah,
named it
we
Bruce?
called it Bruce. Yeah, I don't know why we called it Bruce. I think Barker probably just thought of it randomly.
Uh-huh.
But there was, so when we became friends with Humble, we became friends with Laura, and then Laura was like, hey, I want to kind of help you guys out wherever I can. So I don't know where we found this van, but I remember we bought it and we had to get it from there to Barker's house, but we had no license plates and it wasn't registered, and we were like freaked the fuck out of driving it down 15 to get to
Yep.
Chris's house, and but you're in like just fucking drive it, and you were with us. You're like, no one's gonna pull you
I
over.
drove it.
Oh, that's right, you drove it.
I
Oh
remember,
my
so it
God.
was like down, like near the old like roller rink. Like it was kind of near the Rockaway Mall. And I don't know
Yes.
who saw it, but it was definitely garbage. I
Oh,
mean, it probably was like $200, right? Like, I
yeah,
mean,
it's nothing.
it was cheap. And then we waited till nighttime. And I remember that,
No,
Chris,
no, it was during the
yes,
day. No, it was during
no,
the
we
day we
didn't
drove it.
really. I don't think
Yes,
so.
yes, it
I think we
was.
waited till nighttime. And all right, fine. I don't know. But my memory is that we waited till night. And I remember Chris brought like screwdriver or whatever and took my plates off my car. I left
Yes.
my car in that parking lot. He put them on the van and then I drove it because he was like too much of a pussy to do it. And so I was like, all right. And I drove it all the way back to
His parents' house and
his
like get
parents'
back
house.
on.
And then you guys drove me back to my car. And then like I don't know how this I like because I got like the car insurance for like Humble Beginnings van and it was like
Yes.
kind of like attached to my parents' policy and then like one of you guys got in an accident like the first day or like at Skaters World I think like somebody hit you guys hit somebody or something. I don't know who was driving. Do
I
you remember
don't
this?
remember this. No, but I know that you had helped us get insurance. Were we
Yeah.
also on your policy? Your parents'
You're
policy?
yes. So then I got you guys on the policy, and then I remember like my dad being like, "Who's Chris Barker?" Like, I'm like, oh god,
Dude, you took so many fucking risks doing this shit. This is so incredible.
yeah,
You were like you were like this. There was Book Your Own Fucking Life was the magazine to help people book shows, but like the Laura Ladisheff plan was like, no, I'm gonna literally help you and like help you get a van and help you get a lot of shows and
yeah. Here's your punk rock starter kit.
yeah. Let me introduce you to Laura. Like, hello, I'll be your guide through this journey.
No, I mean, really, just it was Humble Beginnings and you guys that we became friends, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think so at this time too, did you book Humble's first tour?
Yes.
Okay, but this time though, their first tour, okay, yeah, they toured a couple times. Didn't they go with Oblivion? Or they met with Oblivion?
Oh, so yeah, I met them after that.
Okay.
I don't know how did they like tour out to Chicago and back for
I
that
I
first one?
I think they did.
Yeah, but no, I booked their second tour then, I guess. But
When did Jeremy join the band though? Was he
oh
in?
yeah, so I
Okay.
mean, I remember so Sticker is on this was on that show of the flyer that I sent you.
Yeah.
So that was I think they must have been friends with Heft because Heft was from Bergen County and I know Jeremy was also, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember that was the first time I met him was when he showed up to that show.
And
And
then
then he must have been on a couple of other ones.
yeah, and then they did High Strung after when he left Sticker.
Oh, he's in a different band? Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember Gabe and Josh like were like, listen, we think we need another guitar player. And I was like, I don't know, guys, I really think you're doing great like on your own. And they're like, no, I think we're gonna get Jeremy and sit down and talk with him about like I don't know, it felt like a weird interview, like
His
and
vision.
then I guess, yeah. And and he was like, I don't know, I remember him in the beginning, he was like kind of moody and like always sat in the corner of the shows with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah, so like we had to have this like sit down, like I think we were standing next to the new van and then we talked. I mean, it sounds so cheesy. And then I was like, okay, guys, he's in. And then they're like, yes, this is great. And I mean, it sounds so dumb, right?
I never saw Sticker. The only reason I know about it is because I interviewed Jeremy and I interviewed Craig, who was also in Sticker, and then Example 24 and like all these crazy like metal bands. And I remember when High Strung got together, everyone found their demo tape all around town, and then they started to get noticed. And but there was always like I just remembered Jeremy just always being him and Josh were kind of like friends. Like I felt like they were like thick as thieves, like always hanging out at shows. But you're right, Jeremy. Like I never felt like he talked to anybody, or
No,
I was always
yeah,
intimidated to talk to him. I was like, who the fuck? This guy just doesn't talk to anybody. But he would
yeah,
always hang out with Josh, and then like so he's High Strung he was in it for a while, but then when he went over to Humble, it was kind of like, oh, that made sense because the two of them were always talking about music or writing songs or I don't know, they're just always
yeah,
together. I remember that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think it really did kind of fill out the sound
Oh, definitely.
after Jeremy joined, which I don't know like what year this was or
It was 98.
um, really?
I
I feel like it would have been sooner, but okay, maybe.
yeah, maybe a bit sooner.
But then that's when I was like, oh my God, this is good. Like this is a good
Yeah,
mix. Yeah. And then they came out with that, what was it? The Over Manifestations or
it's a
whatever.
really long fucking name for a
Yeah.
band for a
Yeah.
EP. Yeah.
But I remember like I don't know, we were at a show, I think a show that Granik put on, or maybe it was somebody's like record release or something. But so if that came out in 98, I don't remember. So this might have been like a little sooner, but I remember being in the car with Josh, and he like played, I don't know if they recorded a little bit of it or if he just like played it for me or sang it for me or what. But I remember being like, oh my God, you're a genius. Like, this is so good. And I was like so excited. And they recorded, and I really believed in them, you know? I was like, this is
Oh yeah.
gonna go somewhere. Yeah.
Was that the demos for the EP?
It must have been, yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
did you have any part of getting them connected to John from Nada?
I don't know who that is.
John
Is that the
Niclaria from Nada Recording Studios up in New York. That's where they recorded the album.
no, I didn't connect them, but I was there when they recorded it. But I don't know. I don't remember. I don't really remember him.
Personally.
No.
Okay. They recorded the EP. It was that summer because the reason I know that is because we played that reunion show with Humble last year in Teaneck. It was
Okay.
it was 20 years from we both put our EPs out, our first albums out. So we kind of like, oh, we'll do
Oh,
like a
nice.
20-year show. Yeah, it was pretty fun. So that's why I know in 2000 in 98 is when they did that album, and I think that Jeremy had joined not too. I don't remember how like prior to how many months prior, a year prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
But they put that album out, and I remember then they went on tour and they came back, and that's when they split with Gabe. Like, what was that conversation? Do you remember this? Because obviously you would
So
have been a part of it.
yeah, I things are fuzzy. Like I said, I think so if that was 98, I they didn't split with Gabe for until after that. I'm pretty sure. For a while after that, because it wasn't soon after. It wasn't like 98. I mean, I think it was like 2000.
No,
No?
no, it definitely wasn't.
All right. Well, I remember like things were not going that well. Like I think I kind of was like, okay, like I need some distance. Or I mean, I ended up going out to school to the Art Institute of Seattle for music business
Oh,
because
that's
like my
right.
year was up, and I promised my parents if I graduated in 97, then this was like October of 98 that I left. And I think like they were kind of pissed at me that I was leaving, and I was like, well, I'm going to like make connections out there. Like this is what we should be doing. Like not just like it seemed like they were pretty well established here, so like we should be making connections elsewhere. And but like by then, I don't know, things, I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I don't have like great feelings about how things kind of ended.
With you and them, or
Yeah, with me and them. And then I mean, I was still friends with Gabe. He like called me and was like, they kicked me out. And the reason that I was like, I think it was later, was because I remember like we went to Chili's and like we were drinking like we were drowning our sorrows in like Chili's mixed drinks for a while. Um so
wait,
I
is this
guess
the
I had
chill?
a
Wait, is this the chill? Where is this Chili's on 46?
yeah, no, on Route 10. On Route 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why
And
that means anything, but for me, it's just like pointing out these spots in Jersey. I just love
right.
remembering that. Okay.
I think that Chili's might still be there. um but yeah, like, and so we were both, I remember being like really sad about it. We were drinking, but I mean, I think at that point he was already at Rutgers. Maybe it was like the kind of the start of what was the next band, Midtown.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Midtown, there's a flyer here where in 99 they have a show in September of 99, September 18th with the Get Up Kids at
where?
Manville Elks
Okay.
Lodge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not, I think that from what I can remember, they put out the EP and it was that summer, and then they went on that one last tour where they went around, they came back and they were not talking to each other. They played at Boonton Elks Lodge. And
Mm.
then after that, I think when Josh came up to us like, yeah, we're kicking Gabe out after this. Like we can't deal with this anymore or something. It was like, holy shit.
I don't know exactly what happened. I mean, I know that like he definitely had feelings about wanting to be creative, and I think Josh, I mean, and then especially when Jeremy joined, because I think then they kind of were more on that end of it, right? Like
What do you mean?
more of the, I guess, like the musical direction of the band, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
I think that was kind of Josh's jam, and then Jeremy was helping with that. And then my sense was that Gabe was doing more of the everything else. and so I don't know what the fight was about. I can't remember. I mean, I'm sure I knew it at Chili's that day, but I don't know. I don't remember. But I know it was sad, and he was really, really sad. And we both were. I mean, the whole thing, like, I mean, it was this like big deal. Like this, it was like I said, I didn't go to college for it. Like we were really excited about this band. And then like I remember being at the Boonton KOC, and I don't know what show this was, but like it was after that EP came out. And do you remember there's like a balcony up top?
At the Elf Boone Elf Lodge?
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody was allowed on it. Like
Yeah,
we didn't let people come up, but like, so me and whoever were like throwing the show were up there, and the sound person and stuff. But I like remember, I have this like very vivid memory, like standing up there, and I don't know what the last song on the album is, like
Faith 98.
Yeah. So, and it came on, and like the whole place, and it must have been like, I don't know, 600 kids. Like, I mean, we're just like going crazy for this song, and everyone was like moving in unison, and like I mean, we're just like rocking out, and I was like, oh my God, they're going somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
And then like when everything went badly, I mean, I felt like, I really don't remember specifics, but like, you know, each of them had a girlfriend, each of them, like, they had their opinions, like everybody was like letting other opinions come into it. And, you know, I like at that point was dating Jeffrey he was in Digger, and then he was touring with Weston and stuff. Like I remember them not liking that, and because there were like all these different opinions and like what we should do. And I don't know, like I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember it wasn't good. It wasn't like a good feeling. And then
Wait, so real quick, super funny. I just interviewed Jesse from Weston, who took over for Chuck after Chuck left. And the
yeah,
beginning of the interview for 3 minutes, I'm like, yeah, man, last time I saw you was like 20 years ago. It was in Pittsburgh. That party is like, I don't remember this. I was like, no, you were there, and like all this stuff. And I'm talking, he's like, I think you've got me mistaken for Jeff Kish.
oh yeah.
I was like, because I was like, yeah, I used to be in Dawson High, and he goes, I think that you, and I'm going, because I knew who Jesse was, but I had a mistaken that I had hung out with him because Jeff was also in Weston for like a minute playing
Yes, he
backup
was, yeah.
guitars or whatever. And yeah, it was just really funny. I'm going, oh my God. Then Jeff actually emailed me after the interview. He's like, dude, I fucking remember that party. He's like, I knew from the beginning you were talking about me. So it was like laughing the whole time. But yeah, I remember that you guys started dating. Like, how did you guys meet? And yeah, how'd you meet?
So I think Granik did a show at Mount Arlington. Remember there were those shows there?
I remember Mount Arlington, but there was also Mount Tabor. Remember the Aquabats show?
Oh yeah, I did the Aquabats show at
Yes,
Mount
you
Tabor.
did that.
Yeah,
That's right.
on like a Monday night, because they were like, we need to fill our tour schedule, so like you only can have a Monday. And I'm like, that's not gonna go well here.
And it was a
But it
big,
did.
yeah, it was a really good,
Yeah.
actually, and that's when Travis Barker, right before he went to Blink, he was their
Oh
drummer.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hung out. Me and Cindy hung out. Like I think I have pictures somewhere of we hung out with that whole band all
Yeah,
like
I
the
think it
whole
was,
night.
I
Yeah.
think it was like you guys and then Sean from Lanemeyer. You guys were on the bus
Oh yeah.
talking to them.
Wait, I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Sean and I put that show on together.
Yes, that is okay. That's right.
He when he was like the manager of Hot Topic,
Yes.
which also can, give you punk rock in a box, starter kit.
Yeah. Here's your hair dye kit, which I did
Yeah.
buy from there actually when I dyed my hair red. But yeah.
Yeah. But then before that, before Sean was the manager, do you remember? I think Josh worked there too, right?
That's how
At
that's how we met Sean, and we're gonna get back to you
oh
meeting Jeff, but like we met Sean because Sean came to a Mount Arlington show when we were Congress of Cow, and he was there with this girl he was dating at the time. I forget her name. But I remember like she sucked. I didn't like her. She's probably a very nice person, but at the time I was like, I don't like your girlfriend. He came, and then Josh was working at Hot Topic, so we went to go meet to hang out with Josh, and then Sean, and then this is when we were kicking out, or Jeff was quitting Congress of Cow, which we had a
oh
conversation at Delvecchio's house, and we had this whole big thing that night. We're all drunk, and Jeff's like, I want to go to college, and we're like, all right. So we go to Hot Topic. We're like, yeah, we're looking for a drummer, and so Sean walks up to me. He's like, dude, why don't you fucking ask me? I heard you're looking for a drummer. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I walk outside. You know that ledge that was outside of Hot Topic where we'd all used to sit, it like in the
oh
mall.
Okay. Yes, I do. Yeah.
It's like the ramp for the stairs. So
I
we would sit
remember.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I walked down and told Barker. I was like, "Oh, Sean, he just asked me why he plays drums. Like Chris like just beelines it into Hot Topic, and he's like, let's like try him out." But that's how we got Sean in the band. And
God.
I remember we like drove Bruce to his house to go. We almost died in the fucking van, like driving back.
Do you remember? I remember hanging out with Hot Topic with you guys long before that because do you remember Beth? She was the
Yeah.
manager before
Oh yeah.
Sean,
Yep.
and your friend Mikey Angelucci like loved her. He was in love with her, and he asked her to the prom too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then Elizabeth. Do you remember her? She like worked.
Oh yeah, she dated Jeremy a really long time.
Yeah, God, I would love to see her. Does anyone talk to her?
I just remember I haven't heard that name in forever. I just remember like all of us were like that girl is so hot. Like we would go in there
Yeah,
and be like, "Hi, is Elizabeth here?"
yeah, she's
And then she
beautiful. And
dated Jeremy. We're like, "Fuck you, dude."
yeah, I would love to see her. We used to hang out all the time.
Yeah, she was really involved with like
She was
the punk scene and all that. She was dating someone who was in this like wasn't some guy like they had a kid together.
Chad Gaynor.
Who is it?
Yeah, Chad Gaynor.
Chad. Yeah, he was a drummer for
He was a drummer, and he went to my high school. He was in a band called
Threadline?
Threadline. Yeah,
Threadline. Yes.
and he who actually Craig was in that band. Do you remember Craig?
The singer.
Yeah. So
Yeah. He was a really nice guy.
I recently saw him because I was hanging out with Beth from Hot Topic,
Oh no,
and we
sweet. Oh
at a
wow.
show. Yeah, I'm still friends with Beth.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, tell Luch.
Well, Luciet listens to this, so he'll be like, "Yeah, I remember that." Yeah, I have pictures. I have the photos from prom when we were taking them in Vic Tabaranza's. Was it Vic's? I think it was his backyard. And we're all around a pool, and it's like so all of us in tuxes, and there's Beth with like this nose ring and like
uh,
her prom dress. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, we thought it was the coolest thing. We're like, dude, you have the
yeah.
most punk rock like date. She's got a nose ring.
Yeah. So there's like still a scene, like
Really?
and she's totally involved and Craig and Beth married Frog from I think his band was Cement Shoes. It was like I think more hardcore. But like there's still shows going on and she'll be like, come to the show and I haven't gone yet. But yeah, there's I'm busy. I have three little
Three
kids,
kids.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait, what's your okay? Wait, okay. Let's go back because you avoided this. Even though I don't think you avoided it, we just kind of went off on a tangent. Meeting
hmm
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeffrey. Oh, I called him
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, you called him
At
Jeffrey. We're
one
like, it's Jeff.
At one point, no, it was Jeffrey, and he told me at one point he said like, "I know I'm in Jersey if everyone's calling me Jeffrey and not Jeff."
Or Kish.
Um, yeah. So I think I met him at that. I think there was a show that Granik put on it at Mount Arlington, and I don't know. And then they played. Then they played the Boonton Elks, and then I don't know. Like I saw him in a couple other shows, and then so I was like definitely going to see him a lot. He lived in Latrobe, and then I moved out to Seattle, and then like he came out and met me, and we lived out there for a little while together.
I do remember that. That's right.
Yeah, but like that whole thing didn't work out. That school didn't work out for me. Like, and then we like came home, like drove cross country home together, and then then that didn't work out either. So, like
Well, when you actually real quick, were you at? I thought you were at that Pittsburgh show that I talked about because he was living there. Weren't you at that party? I don't know if you can remember this. This is like right before Barker quit the band, and then
what year would that have been?
he quit in '99 because we had left. We played a show in Pittsburgh on Easter Sunday, and it was with the Ataris and this other band with like a girl keyboard player, the Gadgets. I think it was the Gadgets.
Okay.
We play the show. We go to Jeff's like apartment in Pittsburgh, and I swear that I thought you were there. And then
No, so he
yeah.
like no. I mean, honestly, in April of '99, we were in Seattle. We came home in June. Like we were living together in Seattle, I think then.
Oh, it might have been '98. It might have been '98 when this happened. Maybe.
Okay, like so maybe
No, it couldn't have happened because we put the fucking EP out that summer. Whatever. I'm getting like
right.
off track.
But like when we came back, I mean, I went back home to like live with my parents, and he went back home. I think he went back home to live with his parents. I don't remember. But then we broke up like probably in 2000.
Like when you left and went out there, did you like stay involved and like try to put on shows out in Seattle, or were you just like focused on school?
I don't think I was there long enough. No, I wasn't that. I mean, there was like, I think I went to like see MXPX or whatever, like my second night there. Like there was definitely, I went to see Jimmy Eat World. Like I remember hanging out with them. Like
Oh wow.
I saw Brian Malloy out there. I saw that you interviewed him too.
Yeah.
Did he talk about he for a while? Like I don't know if he like was their tour manager or what, but he toured with Elvis, the Mexican Elvis.
I think he might have mentioned that. It's
Yeah.
been a while since I talked to him or interviewed
So
him.
I like walked into the Crocodile Cafe, and there was Brian Malloy. Like it was an Elvis show.
Handing out just in time for nothing zines.
Yeah. So I mean, I was like going to shows. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. I was starting to become like kind of disenchanted. Like
Why?
I don't know. Like I was like not cool with the. I didn't like the idea of like stepping on other people to like move ahead, and I didn't like the negativity. Like I guess like in the school, like it was kind of like, listen, like if somebody sends you a demo and they sound like this, they tell you like they sound like this, like we already have that, like we need something new, like we need new sounds, we need, like gotta like, I mean, it just felt like everybody was like being cut and
Mm.
stepped on, and it was too businessy for me. Like I think what I liked about it was the networking and I wanted to like help bands move up, not
Tear him down.
yeah, totally. So I was starting to like not be into it. I mean, I loved like being in Seattle, but like that school was not a fit.
So you had to go to school because your parents like, all right, time's up, you got to go, and you're like, all right, I'm just.
Yes.
They were adamant about it. They're like, you got to fucking do
Yes.
this.
And then when I came home, they were like, if you want to live here, like you need to be going to school. And so like I went to county.
Yeah, and then weren't you and you dated? Because I remember running into you at a party when you came back. Who's that guy? He roadied for like Less Than Jake and all that and Bigwig.
Oh yeah, Carter.
Carter. Yes.
I don't think dated is the right word, but yeah,
I remember you guys had like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know he passed away? Like he
Yes.
yeah, he like OD'd, I guess. I found out like from somebody later on, but he was friends with Gabe and Josh, and I don't know how. I think he went to like Milburn or Short Hills or something, and or Maplewood. He was from Maplewood. He's like such a nice guy. But he had like there was that girl that he hung out with all the time. They were like attached to the hip. Eileen. Do you remember her?
I don't know. I mean, I knew Carter like through like bumping into him. I through like as an acquaintance. I never like I don't think I ever really sat down and like talked to him and knew him.
Yeah. He was such a nice guy.
Yeah, but he like roadied for I think it was like
Yeah, Less Than
Bigwig
Jake.
and Less Than Jake. Yeah, because on the Less Than Jake interview, like Vinny had mentioned his name. I was like, holy shit, yeah, I do remember that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the who is that guy? Benson.
Oh yeah.
Benson?
Yeah.
I
I'm
just-
still friends with him. Actually, you know
okay.
what's so funny? Like I'm like, yeah, he went to high school with Jay.
Yes.
And then so like there was this party that Jay had, and I think it was like in 96, like so my junior year, and that's how I met Gabe and Josh. Well, I met Gabe like over the phone, like he called me after that show and stuff, but then this is how I met Jay. Like Gabe was like, come to this party. And I remember going, and Jay like, went to a high school where like the graduating class was like 95 kids, right? So
Yeah.
he had this big party, and I remember like going, and it's like, this is gonna just sound silly, but like, like those movies like where you can kind of like connect everything back to like one night.
Yeah.
I feel like that night, like I still meet people who were at that party because I now live in the town that Jay went to high school, and my husband was downstairs. Like there were like Jay had everybody there, like jocks and all these like punk rockers were upstairs, and I mean everybody was there. So like I remember like walking in, and there was this big fight. Like somebody just like got punched in the face. I was like, oh my god, like why are all these jocks here? It's crazy. And then like walking upstairs and like meeting, Gabe and Josh and Chris and Dan McMean, and then like the person downstairs getting punched in the face was my husband, my future husband.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wait, what's his
So,
name again?
Gordon.
Gordon, yes. I remember meeting him. Really nice guy.
Yeah. So I mean,
That's
he's not punk rock, but he's not a jock either. And but like, and then all his like good friends were there, and like who, he's like still good friends with all these guys from high school, and
Oh my
they're
God.
like, their wives are like my best friends now, and Benson was there, who
See, I thought you were gonna say
and
Benson was the guy who got punched in the face because like
no, my
that sounds
husband
about
was.
right.
No, right? I know. He's I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But no, him and Morosi are Jay's friends, like also not like super punk rock, but like I think they all just like kind of got into trouble together. So like they found each other in this small high school. And then but Morosi and Benson were like friends with my husband because they like kind of like still to this day, like they're all big baseball fans. And I know like so it was like years later, like 2001, and I mean, Gordon tells me the story. He's like, him and Rosie were going to hang out. And he's like, Rosie, bring some girls. And Rosie's like, I don't know any girls. And he's like, I know you know one girl because I've seen you around with her. And then Rosie's like, oh, yeah, I do know that one girl. And he like called me up and I like went out to hang out with them. And
So wild. It's like that, that one thing you're like, I don't ever want to go to this, and you go to this party, and then 20 years later you can remember, or 20 whatever years later, you're like, that one night, like that, like you said, like all of these, you could see all these connections, or just people are still talking about, like,
yeah,
oh, I was there.
yeah, yeah. But I still see Benson like that event that you did the video for, the professional, like this
Yes.
hike. How, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So he just was there
He was there for
supporting
that.
me. Yeah, he came out to, yeah, like I'm still friends with him.
Oh, I thought he was like part of Casa.
No, he's not, but he came out like to support and
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Well, this
yeah,
makes me actually, well, two things. Is Jay's mom? Do you know Jay Blanda's mom?
yeah,
Is her name Anne?
yes.
Okay, so Anne follows my webcomic on Instagram and likes like every post.
She's pretty adorable.
She is
She's
hilarious. She literally will message me with just like I'll have like these Instagram stories, and she just like the laughing emoji on all of them. Like she always just like thinks that everything I post is funny, and it's the funniest thing. I think she found my account after I interviewed Jay, and she's been following me since. Like, this is amazing.
yeah. I'm friends with her on Facebook. She likes everything that I ever post.
It's
No, I don't post a lot, but
hilarious.
she's really sweet.
Yeah.
She's a really sweet lady.
So it makes me feel bad like to bring the story up, but I'm just gonna because it was at Delvecchio's house, just speaking about all the parties he had and all the bands that were there. And I don't know if like Whippersnapper was at this party when they were on tour, but there was that party where Sean Lanemeyer, or Smith, and Benson like got in a huge fucking fight. Were you at that?
Yeah,
Yeah, when they like
yeah.
he like
I was.
tackled him through like the bathroom door or some shit.
Wait, Sean tackled Benson or vice versa?
Sean tackled Benson.
Yeah, I like. Did Sean get in a lot of fights? Like, I feel like no, everybody else was pretty peaceful, but
Okay,
did
I
Sean,
I have a
like,
theory. I think I might have said it to Sean. I have a theory that Sean just wanted to punch Chris in the face all the time, and I think he realized he couldn't do that because it'd be the end of the band. So I think he took that aggression out on everybody fucking else that would fuck with him.
that's a
I don't
good
know if he
theory.
like gotten like all out of fights, but I do remember like a couple times where I mean, definitely with Benson, like him and Benson always like never got
Well,
along.
I mean, there were, I mean, I've lost friends over being friends with Benson. I
Yeah,
mean, he definitely has been like a total asshole and for sure. Like, but I mean, he's also like totally hilarious. So like, I think if you were friends with him, you would be like, this guy's hilarious. But
yeah, I never got to know
he
that
is
side.
totally different now. Like, he's a dad and I like really like his wife. And
Oh wow.
so, things change, times change. I mean, Sean's not still punching people in the face, right? Like,
No, I think we were on tour, and he started some shit with this somebody in like New Orleans. And but we all stayed at this house that he went out with like Lawrence Arms guys and went to this place. He came back. He's like, dude, he's like, I think someone almost tried, like this guy almost like tried to kill him. I think like,
mm,
or he had like a bunch of people there, Sean was like, I think I'm afraid for my life right now.
oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I think the guy was all coked out and or something like that too. But I was like New Orleans. I was like, you don't fucking pick fights with people in New Orleans, idiot. Like, or
Yeah.
just in general, you shouldn't do that. You should be a good person. That's my message to everybody.
Yeah. So yes, I was there, but I mean, I don't remember why that fight started, but I can guess.
I think it
So,
was a lot of just drinking, and then
and then,
Benson being Benson
yeah.
and Sean just being like, I'm gonna just put Barker's face on your face and start smashing you.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. I want to like. Do you have any like? If I don't know. I usually like everyone I interview if they're like in bands and things. I'd be like, oh, how'd the band break up? But it's just it's so weird that I like you were so such a part of growing this scene. I think everyone listening to this is going to realize like all these shows, like a lot of shows like you and Ricky. I talked to Benny from Gaslight. I didn't realize how many shows he did at Manville.
Hmm.
But you
I don't
guys like,
remember.
yeah, like I knew about it after I talked to him. So like, oh, we did a bunch of like Monkey hit me up. He's like, oh, you should talk to him. I'm like, I didn't know he did any of that. But you like grew all these like you like helped grow the scene, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the like like a big takeaway is like we did make this massive kind of, I don't know, without like cell phones and without the internet. And like, I mean, it was just this total like kind of movement with
Yeah.
just kind of meeting each other at shows. And I think maybe like I you think I was like super involved or whatever, probably just because my phone number was on all those flyers, and people would call and you make friends, and then I'd be like, you should totally talk to this person. You should totally talk to this person. And then or like, I'll meet you at this show. I'll be wearing a green shirt, and like, it's like how you found people. And
Yeah.
I mean, this was before like, forget GPS, like there wasn't even MapQuest out. Like, I mean, I remember driving to shows like in crazy places, like without any directions, like just like whatever, whoever gave me, and like stopping at gas stations to try and find my way. And I remember in Bigwig, was Josh in Bigwig?
Yeah.
Yes.
The upside down guitar played at lefty.
Okay. Okay, yes. And then he put on a show at New Providence, and I think it was Less Than Jake. Like, this could have been very early
Yeah, I know he did a lot of shows as well.
in New Providence. Yeah. So I mean, like, he gave me these ridiculous directions. Like, I can't believe I ever even showed up there alive, and like took me forever to get there because like it was so hard to like find these places. And then you just like meet a million people, and it's pretty incredible for teenagers doing this like without all that help.
I think the thing I brought this up in another conversation. I was like, the thing that I didn't realize is that it helped us map New Jersey. Like, if we didn't
Yeah.
have these shows, typically people kind of just stay in their hometown and not do anything. But this got us to leave and go, because I grew up in Jefferson. It's like, oh, I'll go to this magical place called Manville or
Mm-hmm.
Allendale or Garfield or Vernon. Like even South Jersey, like Hightstown or Bordentown and
Yeah.
like the firehouse. There's a video online. I think right when Jeremy joined Humble, there's a video of the firehouse, the Derby firehouse, and it's like Humble's playing a set, we're playing a set, Shower the Goats is playing a set, like just a couple clips from it, and it's just crazy. I mean, remember that was like an hour, so that was like by Trenton or something,
Yeah.
and then we got
God.
to like go, again, we just drove down. It's like, all right, what exit number is this? You go get off, go about the two exits, two lights, make a left, and do this. You're like, all right, and we didn't have our
Yeah.
phones telling us how to get there.
No. I mean, and I think that's like very I don't know. Like, I think we had a lot of go get it. We're bored. Like, let's figure this out. We're all gonna have something fun to do.
But it all like came from everyone's collaborative effort, right? So there
It
was,
did. Yeah.
it came from, first of all, there was bands that needed a place to play, and then that spawned, well, let's find a place. There's clubs, but then the clubs, well, those sucked. Hey, there's Legion halls and firehouses. All right, let me make a call. My dad's a member there.
Right.
I know some member. Then those shows start, and then people show up, and then bands had a place to play. People are promoting shows. People are now becoming roadies because they just helped. They grabbed a guitar and amp and brought it in, and then someone's like, I'm gonna write my thoughts, and they have the fucking zines they start bringing there. And then
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, a bigger band's coming in town. We need a place to play. Like, oh, we have this Legion Hall we always play. And then like that brings more people out. And then
Yep.
like, then Portrait Studios and Nada get blown up because we're all like, now we need to disperse our music. It was just crazy how we created this whole, you're right, just like this thing that just spawned from, all right, we want to get together and hear music.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, I can do that one thing. And yeah, but I mean, you had a giant part of that. You're like, oh, I can put on shows, but then it turned into I want to help this band grow so I can use that power of putting on shows to get them more exposure and grow them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's wild.
Yeah. I know. It is. It's crazy. I got to be honest. Like, if it like, I don't know if kids today are like this or capable of what
I don't think
that
so.
kind of. I mean, it's so different now. Like kids don't even, I mean, I remember being like a little kid and like my mom being like, okay, bye, see you at dinner tonight at 5. And like we'd be out all day, like doing whatever and
Yeah.
playing and finding kids to play with. And, but now it's different. Like you schedule every single play date, like with, you know, you have to like text the mom and you know, set it up.
Really?
And so, yeah. Oh yeah. It's totally different. And, so there's none of that, like kids don't come and like ring the doorbell to be like, hey, can Ben come out? Like
Oh
it's just,
wow.
you have to like set everything up in advance. And if like my kid did this and I showed up like in a Legion Hall and like they put together some whole big thing, I'd be like super proud. Like I think it's very self-starter or whatever. I don't know what the word is, but
Entrepreneurial, I guess. I
yeah,
don't know.
entrepreneurial, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I kind of took away that whole spirit, and it's just because I've worked for myself for so long. Because I just remember just kind of having a conversation with myself when I was in high school. I mean, like, I don't ever want to show up to some place having to wear a shirt and tie like my dad did all the time. Like, and then this playing these shows and being in bands, like that was my oh wow, like I can literally do a thing on my own and create my own stuff, and like
So is
that
that
has
what you
carried
hoped
me.
for like did you hope for your band to I mean, at that time, like I think I was
Oh
kind of out of
yeah.
it by then, but were you like hoping that Lanemeyer would and especially like at that same time, it's like when Gabe was I mean, I don't know, like somebody called me and like Gabe's on MTV Music Awards. I'm like, oh my God, great. Like,
Yeah.
but like you guys were kind of up against that, but were you hoping for that
Oh,
or?
absolutely. I mean, all I wanted to, like, me and Chris made it. Me and Chris had sat down at a Taco Bell. It was we took a break from county college. We I think it was like the first semester, or no, I think it was the second semester. And we both, I was like, I don't want to go to school anymore. This sucks. He's like, yeah, and I was like, we should do this. And I think we
Hmm.
told Sean that, and then Sean just took the reins because Sean was, we were 18 and or 19. Sean was 23, 24. And
Yeah,
so
I
he
remember.
was
He
out
was
of
older.
college and, managing Hot Topic, and he's just like, yeah, I want to play in a band. So he just was like, all right, cool. So we lucked out and had someone like, like Humble lucked out and had someone like you that said, oh, I know how to do, you guys, do your thing, write good stuff, music, and I'm going to help you grow. We
Hmm.
had that embedded in the band where Sean was like the drummer helping us write songs, and he was booking shows and then tours.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I want it to be huge. Like when Chris left the band, I said, fuck it. So I took voice lessons, like beefed up my voice. We got Brian from now he's in Gaslight Anthem. Like he came in the band and we're like, we're getting a fucking nice van. Sean's gonna book this huge tour and we're going for it. Then we were on the road. Like we sounded as tight as possible, but we also the problem that we brought was that we had such jealousy. Like me and Sean had such jealousy on like other bands like Midtown. We'd be on the road and show up. There'd be posters, and Midtown was there, like at the show, and you'd see they're playing with Newfound Glory and this, and we're going, why don't we get that break? And we'd be so mad, and we would
Yeah.
talk shit, and then it came back, and we just didn't do it right. Like we didn't.
Yeah.
We were just. It was, and that's what burned us. And then, so after like the music was, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I could, it's like I had to like real. I think it took a long time for me to like self-reflect and go, all right. Like you can't chase after what everyone else is doing. Like there's enough room at the top for everybody. Like there's not just one pinnacle thing where not someone's not going to like take over someone's music collections. Like sure, but after you're done listening to 30 minutes of an album, you're like, oh, there's other bands I want to listen to, or
Yeah.
I'll go see.
Or maybe it just wasn't long enough of time, you know? I mean, there's like a grind you have to go through, I think, for a long time in
Oh
order
yeah.
to break in. I mean,
Yeah, we didn't
um,
think that either. I think we just thought like this is owed to us. We've been doing this for a while, but I mean, even like the things I create now, I am just very aware of like shit, man, I'm at the very beginning of doing this thing. This is X amount of years. I mean, sure, things can come along faster because of social media and one person with enough following shares something or whatever, like gets more exposure than people see what you're doing. But the core of it, you have to make it really fucking good and genuine.
hmm.
And you can't be like, I just want to make music so I can get money or get likes on my Instagram. It's like, no, you have to just be really fucking good at that one thing, and then it's like, oh, other people once they show up, it's like through. I said this analogy a lot. Like you can flyer for a party and have like 1,000 people show up, and they're like, all your effort went to flyering the party, and they're like, well, this party sucks. But if you just create a really good fucking party and people show up, they're gonna tell everyone else like, dude, you have to check this shit out. You have to go back to this one every time they have a party. Like you have to go.
Yeah.
And I think we didn't do that as a band.
Yeah, I think either you can be very, very talented, or you can like it's one way to do it, or you can try really, really, really hard.
Yeah, I kind of had that
And that's at
conversation. Yeah.
anything, right?
Well, I mean, like, and just I like I said, I had that webcomic. I was thinking like today, I just had this kind of aha moment. I'm like, man, I'm not going for it because I have like all these books and things I'm trying to do, and they're like really funny. I'm like, I'm kind of just half-assing this. I'm like quarter-assing this. Like, if I really want to do something, I have to go fucking balls out on it.
Well, maybe you don't know what that is. Like maybe, if you keep trying different things until you're like, this is it, this is it,
Yeah, yeah,
then you can go for that.
exactly. Before we end this, do you have any like crazy stories from back then? Like any like this crazy shit happened at this show or
Um, oh my God, I I wish you had like emailed me things to think about ahead of time so I could have thought about that. I God, I don't know. I mean, like I said, my memory is like pretty spotty.
like why do you think you can't remember much from that time?
So I mean, I had like a lot of good times. And I mean, I think I was doing that. Like I said, like I started in '94, but
Yeah.
like by the time I was out of it, like I feel like you guys, I don't know, came along like a little towards the end, but I was just kind of done. And like I said, it didn't feel good. Like it wasn't like, I guess probably this happened in your band too. And I think it happens in every band. Like you have to make something work with like four other people or three other people, whatever that is.
Hmm.
And it's like really hard to all get on the same page.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And this happens in like tons of bands, like big, huge, major bands. This happens. It was like very disappointing. And after trying so hard and like doing all this work and doing all these shows, like it kind of felt like a big waste of time at the end.
Really?
Yeah,
Just
it did.
because you didn't get to where you thought you should have?
Yeah. And then also, like, I think maybe like just what you were talking about, like, I'm not sure if I really knew where I wanted to be.
Well, that's what I'm gonna ask. Like, did you clearly know? Like, when you were disappointed, you're like, "Oh, I'm not there," but you ask yourself, like, "Well, what is there?" And you're going, huh, shit,
Yeah.
I don't know."
Right. And I think at probably that age for everybody is like
Yeah.
kind of a confusing time and you're trying to figure things out. But I mean, I kind of thought, and I think that, I mean, I still think that Humble Beginnings could have gone really far,
Oh yeah,
if we
absolutely.
could have kept it together. So I don't know, like it just didn't, I don't know, it just felt kind of like, well,
Kind of like
what do we do all this
stagnant, I
for?
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I don't really even know. I mean, I'm, what to do after. And I never had like a clear vision of what I wanted to do. I still don't know like what I want to do.
I think that's good though. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, you have to have like somewhat of an inkling. You have to have like some like I'd like to go in this direction. But I think when people are like, "Here's my 5-year plan," you're going, "That's like really airtight. Like you don't have any room to just live. Like you
Right.
know, if you're gonna be that
I'm
robotic, you're gonna miss out."
Yeah. I mean, I think some people would say I'm probably have more of a plan than others. But no, like I mean, I'm like people who were like, okay, I want to be a doctor or I want to be a lawyer or I want to be whatever. Like there's like a very clear path. Like you go to school, you do all this stuff and for those things you don't have to count on anybody else.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
if you want to and like even as like a professional athlete, right? Like talk about a grind, like, baseball players, they have to like be in the minors or do the Cape Cod leagues or whatever they have to do before they can like get called up, right? But like for being a rock star or being in a band, like you have to rely on other people
Oh
to
yeah. I mean,
be,
that's why I do. That's why I work by myself.
yeah.
The band was my initial uh, business partnership. After that, when I did actually freelance work, I would partner up with people, and it never worked because we just never had a conversation that direction. I will not work with people. Like I'll have clients, like as you know,
Hmm.
but I won't bring on like a partner because I'm going. I don't want that vision to skew whatever it is I decide my vision's going to be.
Right.
I can't because yeah, I just like you getting someone else to be that in tune and 100% of being like, yeah, we both want to go in this direction, and then you both have to stay
Yeah.
on that fucking path together.
Right.
That's hard.
Yeah. Like next to impossible.
Yeah, probably why I'm divorced.
Yeah, that is one thing, right? Marriage is kind of like the one thing where you have to,
Oh yeah, you have to have a complete
you pick a person
conversation.
and yeah.
You're like, we're gonna build a scene.
Right. Yeah. But I did already buy my 9-year-old has like an electric guitar and he's taking lessons and
Oh wow.
I'm ready. I'm ready for whenever, he wants to put on a show.
If he, it's he or she. You said he.
Hey, I have 3 boys.
If your son came to you and said, I want to play a show, do you think you'd ever kind of be like, oh, I'll help you figure out how to do that, or I'll make a couple calls to see if I can set one up for you?
Oh yeah. No, I would whatever he
Wow.
needs. All the know-how.
Where do you live now?
Mountain Lake, which is actually like right next to Boonton. So
Boonton.
I live like 30
Oh
seconds
my
away from.
God.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. You could do like a fucking Boonton show.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
insane.
For
I,
sure.
I think James from Fun Size, he just posted something. Do you remember that band Fun Size? They're like from Richmond,
Sounds
Virginia.
familiar. Where were they from?
Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
I follow him on Instagram, and he posted like Fun Size got back together a couple years ago, and I think a couple bands just played a Legion Hall show. Instead of playing a club, they're like, we're gonna play a Legion Hall or Firehouse, something like that. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
If I lived in Jersey, if like we lived up there, I would try to make something like that happen. I'd be like, dude, that'd be amazing. Like have other like a couple bands get back together and just play at a Legion Hall. That'd be so sick.
Yeah. So what's the next are you gonna so you just got together a couple of years ago, you and Lanemeyer and Humble Beginnings did a reunion
Yeah,
show?
yeah, because I started this in March 2018, and then it just started this conversation where people started reminiscing, and then Melissa from Bergenfield, we're Bergenfield girls, she lives in Sparta now. She was like, "Hey, we're thinking of putting on a show. Do you guys want to play with Humble?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah." And then Rob from Midtown, he hits me up and goes after I interviewed Heath, and he's like, "Dude, it's stories on Spotify, or do you still have the rights to stories or something?" I was like, "I don't know about that." He's like, "I want to put it on Spotify and let's put out vinyl." And then we ended up playing that show last year. It was like 300 people came to like Mexicali, and we had like our first EP like pressed on green vinyl, and we're like selling that in merch, and it was amazing.
Fun.
Yeah, but
Wow.
like Jeremy keeps hitting me up. I keep talking about it. He's like, let's play another show. And I'm like, dude, I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm like, I'm not. I was like, again, it was like the party was great the first time, but I think it has to be a few years before everyone's like, oh yeah, I think if you did it a year later, it's like no one wants to fucking go
Yeah,
back to
that's too
that.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, next time, Boot and Elks.
Oh, I see. That's something I think that I'd be more enticed to be like. I would if I did it again, it would have to be at a Legion Hall. That would be sick.
It would be.
It would be the
It would
greatest thing ever.
bring back a lot of memories.
Yeah, I would totally do
Yeah.
that. But all right, so I'm gonna end this with 2 questions.
Oh
And
God.
so first one, what do you want to plug anything? Just bring
Um,
awareness to something for people listening.
well, I mean, maybe tell people how like we reconnected and what CASA is all about,
Yeah.
if that's
So
okay.
yeah, Laura reached out to me 2015 or 16, and she said, I'm working for this organization that basically it helps foster kids go through basically their like getting pulled from their home and being put into foster care. Like they kind of get lost in the system and no one really keeps an eye on them. So this organization called CASA helps like give someone, kind of connects them with someone who goes along with them the whole way.
That's right.
Yeah. And I know this because we just
Yes.
did an explainer video, an animation for them that they just finished. And that's just simplified that whole story. It's like, these kids will go to a house, they'll go another house and school systems, and no one's keeping an eye on them. So they have someone there to check in with them and be like, all right, like, are you good? How are things? And it just helps them kind of stay connected to something because they've now are
Right.
disconnected from everything.
And it's and then like the volunteers go back and report to the judge and explain like what's going on with the kid, and then that way the judge can make the best decisions on behalf of the kid. Which is like such an important, like you would think that the state would do that, like,
Yeah.
but they fall through the cracks. So it's like such a good organization, and I've been volunteering with them for a long time, and yeah. So I mean, they sent me your video. It looks great. So
Good.
yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you.
And that's a national organization. It's not just in New Jersey. It's all over the country. So if anybody's interested in volunteering, it's like such a good way to directly like volunteer and like actually impact a human being's life.
What's like the main, because I know costaofunioncounty.org is the one that we did we did the video for you guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's like, is there like a main CASA website?
Yeah, there's CASA. It's like court appointed special advocates. Like there's a CASA National, And then in some places it's called GAL, Guardian Ad Litem. So you can just like Google you can Google CASA and your local one will probably come up. And I mean, they're all over.
So as a
So,
volunteer though, like what do you specifically do to kind of give someone an idea of what they would go through?
so I trained like you train to like learn how to, go in and talk to the kid. But then like they basically appoint you like court appointed, like you have a piece of paper, like you can go in and talk to like the birth parents and the foster parents and like the principal of the school and the teachers and the coaches and whoever, like the doctors, the dentists, like whoever's like impacting the kid's life.
Wow.
Like you have the power to go in and talk to whoever, and then you meet with the kid and you kind of follow them, and then every couple of months you go in and talk to the judge about what's going on, and you make recommendations what you think that the kid needs.
Do you have a success story from a kid that you followed and from meeting them and then to the point they're at now?
So actually, no, because when I started, like I left work to stay home with my kids, and this is like when I started volunteering with them, and it was like I got my first kid was like a 16-year-old girl, and she was like super jaded and like had been in the system for a long time, and had been through like horrible abuse, and it was like not easy to connect with her. It was like way harder than I thought. Like I thought like, okay, yeah, give me a kid, give me a tough case. Like I'm going to get in there and, do my best. But it was like very difficult for me and like emotionally too, because, I was like home with these like little babies and like a brand new mother. And I don't know, it felt like really like, how am I going to make a difference and stuff? And so I ended up not staying. Like, I mean, I finished out my case until she got adopted, but then I joined like the board of directors and volunteered with them, and then I started their fundraising gala and just tried to like raise as much money as for them as I could, so that they can, so the people on the front lines could like actually help the kids. So that's what I've been doing.
I think sometimes like getting involved in an organization, there's different avenues. It's like you got to find out how you connect your superpower to it.
That's right.
So
Yes.
it's like have it connect with that one girl and like, okay, well, how can I help you with the way that I know how? And so you're like,
Right.
but you stayed with it and like, oh, this is the way I'm gonna do it.
And then actually like my show experience like was very helpful because like I planned their fundraisers like from start to finish,
Oh,
like,
wow.
and I ended up raising like, I don't know, almost $1 million for them.
Holy
So
shit. Wow. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I've been doing. But I'm kind of looking for my next big thing now. Like I don't live in Union County anymore, and so I don't know. See what
I
the
think
next thing is.
I think that's the moment where let's look at a little hippy dippy, but I noticed with myself like where I think I'm kind of on that same path where it's like, what's that next thing?
Hmm.
That's where some random conversation starts showing up where you're like, all right, if I'm really looking for it, then you just have like some conversation with somebody and you're like, oh wow, like maybe that's it. Or I don't know. I think when you're looking for it, then it's like, all right, cool, like something's going to happen instead of being like, yeah, I'm good. I don't
Yeah, that's
care.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm open.
So
You
everyone
know,
listening, if you were inspired or you think that you know what Laura should do next, you should just hit her up.
that's right.
You're like, I've got the answer for you. You're like, wow, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, good.
All right, so last question. Um,
Okay.
what scene ethics do you still hold on to this day?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess certainly not like straight edge. Like,
You're like, I'm actually
um,
drinking a glass of wine right now.
right. Um, God, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess I would just say like the thing like I mean, I've learned so much from that, like kind of starting from nothing, like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do a show, like let's figure this out. And like I don't know if that's an ethic, like, but kind of starting from zero and being like I guess I learned at that point and now like to be very, very like operations. Like I'd be like, okay, need to book a hall, need to like figure this out. Like who's going to sit at the door? How many people need to sit there? Like, okay, how many bands are going to play? Like I'm very like start to finish, like very logistics and all about like, I think things through the whole way and, to the end. And, I don't know, I still do that. Like, because you have to, like, in order to make something good or work, like I do that. That's not an ethic. So that probably doesn't answer the question.
No, it goes. I think it goes in that direction.
Yeah, but
Maybe you
I don't
got it
know.
from that time, so.
I did, yeah. But I mean, I still like love the idea of like helping out. I mean, it's like kind of why I like volunteer for nonprofit, right? Like I like love helping out. I mean, it's like very rewarding, you know. This like little nonprofit that comes from nothing, and they have not a lot, and you know, spreading the word and getting them bigger. And I don't know, it sounds lame. Maybe you should cut this out.
No, this is great. It sounds like you like kind of took. It sounds like you took like the genuineness from Fen that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, yeah,
Just keep it DIY.
yeah. Right, DIY.